introduce ourselves. I'm Jason Levine, a fifth-year rabbinical student and the student rabbi and foundation fellow at the Hillel at Miami in Oxford, Ohio.
And I'm Josh Herman. I'm a fourth-year rabbinical student, and I'm the rabbinic intern and foundation fellow at Cincinnati Hillel, just up the street from us.
And as you've already heard from the first three presentations, the idea of collaboration, and we're actually we'll talk about a little bit something that we're doing a bit different. This is a national program through Hillel, and we'll talk about how it can be used in larger purposes, especially in our interest of sharing our Cincinnati community together. So just last year, a Hillel initiative began called the Ask Big Questions Initiative, created by some Hillel staff people. The idea is to deepen conversations on campus. Students pass each other around campus, chit-chat, where the party's later tonight, have you done the homework assignment, how are your friends, all well and good, but when are the moments of deepening the conversation, and more than that, relating to other people, trying to really be personal, be open. You're really trying to have a deeper relationship with other people. And these questions, admittedly very vague, but also very big, are one way to start the conversation. They all come with facilitators' guides, which I'm happy to share, that we printed out. But really, it's a great chance for people to get to know each other, not just within Hillel, but you get to meet and talk to somebody on the opposite side of campus you don't know very well, or on a different campus if they're doing the same program. Who says it even has to be Jewish, as we'll talk about. So we'll do a little mock version. We'll have 6 questions here that we've done on our campuses. Well, what could be done in an hour-long program, we'll do in 3 minutes. So let me read off the 6 questions, and with a little hand vote, ask you guys to pick a question that we can talk about for a few minutes. There seem to be some popular ones tonight. What have I learned so far? You can see also when the time of year they come up. For example, what am I grateful for? Came up around Thanksgiving. What can I do better this year? Am I truly free? For whom am I responsible? Came up for different times actually. And how do I decide who to vote for?
How do I decide what?
Every 4 years.
Who to vote for? It's actually a very good question on both our campuses.
Mm-hmm. And I actually recycled it around the Israeli election.
Yeah.
Oh.
So a quick show of hands. What have I learned so far? What am I grateful for? What can I do better this year? Am I truly free? For whom am I responsible? And how do you decide who to vote for? So I wasn't watching.
And what am I grateful for was our winner.
Excellent.
This is a new one, right? All right. So traditionally, the way we would do it on campus is have a little bit of a discussion about ground rules to make it a safe and open environment. I think we'll be okay in this crowd. But sort of the one ground rule that I think is actually difficult for everybody is, I think, a really important one, which is that we sort of accept silence. We don't rush to fill silence. We sort of take the time to think. These are, often phrased in the first person because they're supposed to be personal questions. So I offer to you the opportunity to actually think about it for a moment, and when you feel ready to share, you go right ahead. So without too much introduction or elaboration, I'll just simply pose the question for each of you to ask yourselves. What am I grateful for?
So for today, I'm feeling really grateful for spring having really arrived. Wait. Cincinnati. Okay, that also
Right.
it's my first spring in Cincinnati. So
That is good.
tomorrow will either be summer or winter.
Well, I think you're sharing something personal, something that's really in the moment for you.
Yeah. Gorgeous blossoms on the trees if you've been outside. So far, no allergies, feelings.
So who else am I grateful for?
Education.
Education.
Graduating this term. So.
Congratulations. Goes on through. Something you worked hard for, something that you spent a lot of time on.
We're all going there, right?
So let's see a bit more. I'm curious from both of you. So you both came with the same answer. You should both share a little bit and how you.
As some of you know, I'm out of commission last year with broken legs, so it really made me view life a little differently when you're sitting for 6 weeks and you can't move. And came to the realization that it was an inconvenience, but I was going to, it was healing. So I wasn't sick, and that made a huge difference in my outlook. It made me so grateful for the fact that I was basically helping. And so when I look around at my family and others and see that we're healthy, that's very grateful.
Along those same lines, I'm grateful for my own health, but for the health of the family and friends that I'm closest to, because it's something you can't take for granted. You just never know what will happen to any of us every day. So.
It's like hearing the different answers. People really approaching questions a bit differently for something really maybe working hard on, struggling with, for something that's really just filling you in the moment. A big question, I really have no wrong answers. It's a chance to share. So, last thought from anyone? 4-minute big question session.
I'm grateful for you leading this.
Oh,
That's nice. Yes, big question, but short time frame.
yes.
But really, Ask Big Questions is just a framework. And I think sort of the differences in the way that Jason and I have approached it kind of really demonstrates the different things that you can do with this framework that sort of Hillel has provided us. Just for example, when I did Ask Big Questions at UC, or at the Cincinnati Hillel, I should say, I did it as a standalone program. Students came to have a conversation. Jason, on the other hand, did it as a way to enrich an existing program. Namely, he made these table tents with the question and a Jewish quote, and he put them on the table each Shabbat to enrich the conversation that was happening around the Shabbat table. And not only does that demonstrate really sort of the different things that you can do with this program, it is really indicative too of the benefits that we've had at collaborating with one another. I know not only does Jason have a year of seniority here at HUC on me, but he has also a couple of years of seniority on me working at Hillel, and really a wealth of experience that I was able to learn from when I came to him and I said, I'm trying to do this Ask Me a Question things, it's not working, what do I do? And also, how does this fit in with me being a rabbinical student, because many of the questions weren't explicitly Jewish. And he showed me the cards that he was making with the Jewish quotes that he was adding just from his own knowledge and from his own research. And it's a simple thing. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of time, as long as you've got a quote in mind. But it really adds a new dimension and really helped me out. It was something that I had not thought of and really helped me to succeed a bit more.
I mean, it's important with the Jewish text is I never give an answer. The text is always a compliment. It's never an answer because you want them to supply their own answer. Think of the conversation you just had with Aya and Andy and Rachel. What makes an organization Jewish? You can similarly ask what makes a conversation Jewish. Is it who's in the conversation? Is it actually using text? Is it using Hebrew? Is it in a Jewish space, for example? If students are hanging out in Cincinnati Hillel having coffee together, talking about their homework, could one argue that's a Jewish conversation because they're Jews gathering together? Some say yes, some say no. But this idea of creating opportunities for these type of experiences to happen.
And it's really just one sort of example of our collaboration that the two of us have shared. We also had a program, Comedy Shabbat, where the students at Cincinnati Hillel went up to Oxford to have a Shabbat dinner and services into your comedian come. We also had our Esther Fest program on the UC campus where the Miami students bust down to have a big Purim party and spiel. And then maybe the best example is a couple of months ago we did Dead Sea Scrolls tour where we met at the Museum Center. We had Dr. Neely Fox from here at HUC and Dr. Ari Finkelstein from UC give tours, and then we had a discussion that that Dr. Jason Kelman here at HUC helped me to build, and it was a beautiful collaboration and really valuable one, not just between our two Hillels, but our Hillels and HUC and the UC Jewish Studies Department and the foundation sort of enlarged, and so
really. And that's what this is all about, the idea of big questions, meaning relational, how do we relate to each other, our different agencies and organizations. It's not just, can I have a grant, can I have space, can I have volunteers, but how are we connecting, how are we relating, and how are we approaching the big questions together. The conversation doesn't begin with what's the bottom line, the conversation begins with a big question. That's kind of what I hope to share with you. Puzzle pieces are however they may.
There's the last one.
Well,
We're moving the other side of the room, right?
So, are there any questions, big or small?
Yeah. Last April Fool's Day, they put out one which was ask small questions.
Small questions, right?
Just curious, what's the quote that you read to the question?
It's from Reb Nachman of Bratslav. You must make sure you set aside a time each day when you can reflect calmly on everything you are doing and the way you are behaving, and ask if this is the right way to spend your days. question, that's probably the longest quote I've ever put on one of the cards. Usually it's much shorter.
Rabbi Nachman was.
Rabbi Nachman was and not no one.
Prolix, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's many more questions we've accomplished over the course of the year.
And we'll have this out later if you want.
Each one, every week.
Fantastic. They need the puzzle pieces.
All right, well, thank
You have the
you.
puzzle pieces.
Thank you.
What do we do with the puzzle?
Well, you have to bring them back into the.
Ah, okay.